Unsolved cases involving missing people can be a source of frustration for investigators, as there are often clues or witnesses that could lead to their whereabouts, but the information frequently leads to a dead end, leaving the case to grow cold and, in many cases, to remain an unexplained mystery forever. Number 5. 24-year-old David Ramsey from Pennsylvania mysteriously disappeared in May of 2018, and ironically, the last people to see him on that day were members of the Michigan State Police who had pulled him over. On the day that David went missing, he had been riding his bicycle on the interstate and was stopped by police officers for doing so. After they picked him up, they discovered that he had been reported as a missing person in Pennsylvania. They booked him into a motel for the night, but when they returned the next morning, he had already left and no trace of him has been found since. Attempts were made to contact him on his cell phone, but it had been switched off and his Facebook account hasn't seen any activity since his strange disappearance. His wallet and a few other belongings were found in the Lake Odessa area of Michigan, but there have been no further developments in his missing person case, and investigators are stumped as to what may have happened to him. His mother has never stopped searching for him and has made a public plea for him to get in touch with any of his family members to tell them if he is safe or needs help in any way. David is described as having brown hair that was shoulder length at the time of his disappearance, with blue eyes. He's between 5'7" and 5'9" and weighs between 150 and 160 pounds. He's known to walk hunched over and often clasps his right arm tightly to his side when he's feeling anxious. If you or anyone you know has information on David's disappearance or whereabouts, you're asked to contact the police at 814-774-2651 or the Pennsylvania State Police at 814-898-1641. Number 4. In 2015, Rebecca Paulk, a 26-year-old woman from Linden in Alabama, was working at the Rock Tin Mill Company as a master contractor when she disappeared and her missing person case remains unsolved. On the 7th of September, Rebecca had been visiting with her parents in Demopolis. At around 7 p.m., she left their house after telling her mother that she would be back soon, but she gave no indication as to where she was going. When she hadn't returned to their house by the 9th, her parents became worried and filed a missing person report with the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department after they told her that her car had been found abandoned in a ditch on an abandoned road close to the Alabama border. When her car was inspected, investigators found a few of her personal belongings, including her laptop, purse, and her iPad. A few days after the discovery, her cell phone was found in a wooded area by the owners of the property about a mile from the spot where her car was found. Deputies searched the area with the help of search dogs, but no clues were found. Her mother told police that she didn't understand why Rebecca was even in that area, as she'd never heard of that place. On the 8th of September, police found surveillance footage from 2 separate businesses of a woman resembling Rebecca in the company of a 57-year-old man named Robert Poiso Jr. On the 24th of September, Poiso Jr. was arrested on trespassing and disturbance of family charges, and a search warrant was issued for his home off of Old Wire Road in Meridian, but no evidence was found to link him to Rebecca's mysterious disappearance. Police have stated that they don't believe Rebecca met with foul play, though they currently have no new leads in her case. Her parents have offered a $20,000 reward for any information leading to her being found. She is described as blonde with green eyes, 5'6" tall, and weighs around 145 pounds. She has a tattoo of a fairy on her right torso, another with the letters RC on her lower abdomen, and the word love on her left wrist. The last time she was seen, she was wearing blue jeans and a t-shirt of unknown color. Anyone with information on Rebecca's case is urged to contact the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department on 601-486-4952 or 601-482-9806. Number 3. Jeremy Theodore Alex, known to his friends and family as Ted, a 28-year-old man from Lincolnville in Maine, remains missing after he disappeared on the 24th of April, 2004, under very strange circumstances. The day before he mysteriously vanished, Jeremy's parents had driven up to Portsmouth in New Hampshire to visit him. Jeremy had turned 28 years old 2 weeks earlier, and they wanted to celebrate the occasion with him. The following morning, Jeremy arrived at his girlfriend's house to help her move her belongings into their new rented house on Harbor Road in Northport. She noticed that he seemed agitated and upset, and he told her that there were people after him who wanted to harm him. Despite her best efforts to comfort him, he remained on edge and decided to leave. At around 5:20 p.m., one of Jeremy's former high school teachers saw him running into her backyard from the nearby woods on Pound Hill Road, about a mile away from his new house. He was behaving strangely and erratically, and had an unknown amount of money clasped in his hand. He begged the teacher and her husband to help him, telling them that bad people were trying to hurt him. The teacher's husband stayed with Jeremy, attempting to calm him down while she went to the police, but he panicked and ran back into the woods before they had arrived. He never made it back to his house and has not been seen since that day. On the 25th of April, his van was located in the parking lot of the Waldo County Humane Society on Pond Hill Road in Northport. Inside his van, his cell phone and keys were found, but there were no other traces of Jeremy or clues as to where he might have gone. For the next 5 months, the wooded area around Pound Hill Road was extensively searched, but to no avail. A witness came forward and told police that they saw a man that looked like Jeremy running across Route 1 near Northport at the time that he disappeared. That area was also searched, but again, nothing of interest was found. His girlfriend told police that on the day of his strange disappearance, Jeremy had been using illegal substances, and they believed that this was the source of his paranoia and erratic behavior. 4 years later, a couple in Northport revealed that they had found Jeremy's driver's license. In May of 2004, they were in the process of building a beach house when his license and some money washed up on the shore. They decided to keep the license and only handed it to the police officer after a family friend recognized him as a missing person. Jeremy's case remains unsolved, and anyone with information can contact the Maine State Police at 207-624-7076. Number 2. In 2007, Neo Maximus from Massachusetts, also known by his birth name Charles Allen Jr., was suffering from manic episodes that were brought on by his bipolar disorder. He was no longer taking his medication and often seemed bewildered and paranoid. On the 11th of October, he was meant to have lunch with his father in New Bedford, but he missed the appointment and they spoke on the phone instead. Later that day, his sister asked why he had deleted his Facebook profile, but he denied doing so and told her that he was being followed. On the 13th of October, he tried to break into a house near College Lane in Dartmouth at around 3 a.m. A woman who was asleep on the second floor woke to find him in the house, and when she confronted him, he said that he was looking for a college friend who he mistakenly believed to be living there. He apologized and jumped out of a second-story window before running off into the nearby woods. This was the last time that anyone saw him, and he remains missing to this day. Soon after, his blue Ford Expedition was found on the university campus grounds. On the 14th of October, Neo's backpack was found on Slocum Road, and inside, police found school supplies. His sneakers were found 3 days later in a wooded area near Chase Road. At the time of his mysterious disappearance, he had his keys, credit cards, and cell phone with him, and none of these items have ever been recovered. His bank account and phone records have shown no activity since that day, and searchers at the homeless shelter have turned up nothing. Before he vanished, he left voicemail messages for his parents, saying that he was traveling to Florida or Texas, but no evidence proving this has ever been found. If you have any information on Neo's case, you're asked to contact the Dartmouth Police Department at 508-997-9900. Number 1. In 2006, Jamie Fraley met Ricky Simmons Jr., and the couple became engaged before moving in together at the Copperfield apartment complex in Gastonia, North Carolina. Before they could get married, however, Simmons was arrested for theft and sentenced to 15 months in prison, and he was still incarcerated when 22-year-old Jamie mysteriously disappeared. On the 7th of April, 2008, Jamie had contracted a case of stomach flu and had been admitted to a local hospital's emergency room early that afternoon. After being treated and sent home, she was visited by a friend who took her prescription to a local drugstore. That evening, between 8 and 10 p.m., she started to feel ill again and decided she wanted to go back to the hospital. She contacted her fiance's father, Ricky Simmons Sr., who lived in the same apartment complex, and asked for a ride, as she didn't have a driver's license. Upon arriving at the hospital, however, she was told that there was a 3-hour wait and she decided to go home. She managed to get a hold of another one of her neighbors who dropped her at home around midnight. She later phoned her mother and told her that a Social Security Administration healthcare worker would be picking her up the next morning for an appointment. At 2 a.m., she told a friend that she was getting a ride to the hospital with a man, but didn't mention his name. The following morning, the healthcare worker arrived to pick her up, but got no answer at the door, and Jamie hasn't been seen since. When her family went to check on her, they found her apartment door locked and only her cell phone was missing. On the 13th of April, her phone was found at the intersection of South New Hope Road and East Hudson Boulevard, and it was found that she had received a call at about 5 a.m. from a burner phone. Simmons Sr. was questioned, as he had spent time in jail for ending the life of his ex-girlfriend, but he refused to take a polygraph test. On the 8th of June, he was found deceased in the trunk of his ex-girlfriend's car. It's believed that he hid there and planned to harm her, but had succumbed to a heat stroke. Police believe he was involved in Jamie's disappearance as well, but they've been unable to prove it. Anyone with information on the case is asked to contact the Gaston County Police at 704-866-3321. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.